And we are live. This is what is this? This is the third, no, fourth time that we're doing this. One thing I'm going to work on is see if we can figure out a timeline that works well for doing this each day. I don't know what that timeline is going to be or that time of day is going to be, but probably going to look for early in the morning, which means it'll be super early in the morning for people here on the West Coast and just a little bit early in the morning for those on the East Coast. Excuse me. We've got the whiteboard still up from yesterday. If you didn't see yesterday's episode, take a look at it. Talk a little bit about your ideal customer profile, both at an organization and individual level. Today is Thursday. It's Throwback Thursday, and we're going to throw back to episode 301, where Jen Igartwa joins me to talk about RevOps, enablement, and improv. And we're going to share a couple of takeaways. The first takeaway is that revenue operations is a framework. It is not the goal. It is the way. It is not the goal. It is the way. You know, when Jen talked about this on the podcast, I think this was a really cool thing that she highlighted. Having revenue operations, or having a RevOps team inside the organization, or saying that your RevOps sound is not the goal. It is we embody what RevOps is, and it goes throughout our entire organization. And it gets into that second point that was the second key takeaway, which is the goal is to create a frictionless experience, which ultimately generates more revenue for you. And when you create that frictionless experience for your customers, it will help your customers' business grow, and as a result, your business will grow. As their business grows, your business will grow. So when you take a RevOps mindset when building out your team, building out your go-to-market, building out your view of how you look at data, you'll remove a lot of the ambiguity that you have inside your organization about how we generate money, what keeps customers with us, how we support those customers growing, where each of those conversions come from, and be in a position where you'll help their business grow. If your software tool or your thing that you're delivering into the organization is business critical, you'll help their business grow, and as a result, you'll grow your business. And when your business grows and you're going to be able to bring in more people inside that organization, you're going to be able to support more customers. So look at RevOps not as the goal, look at it as the way. And then when you're looking at it as the way, think about how can I reduce friction to help support growth, both for our customers and for our business. And then the last takeaway, when we got into some improv, I think it was pretty cool how Jen shared her background in improv and how it applies to the work that she does. And one of the key things was, in improv, you provide a space for play. When you provide that same space for play inside your organization, you will actually enable your teams to be more creative, take more risks, um, create more opportunities for innovation. So create that space for play. Where do you have fun? So the question I would ask you as we get a little bit deeper into this is, how do you create space inside your organization for your team to play? How do you create space inside your organization and the interaction that you have with your customers so you can play with your customers? Where do you find that space to create a level of creativity and not feel like we've got to do things the way that we've always done them, or have to do things the way we're supposed to do them, or have to do whatever? Get out there and play a little bit, get creative, and you'll be surprised by the new ideas that come up inside your organization and the new things that you start doing inside your organization. And I've seen this work directly. This is one of the key reasons why I enjoyed and really miss going on retreats with my leadership team. whether I was part of the leadership team, meaning, I'm peers reporting into a CEO, or I have a team of directors who are reporting into me as a VP of sales or a VP of the Americas group, which was that last W2 role. I missed that opportunity. And the reason I missed that opportunity is because when you pull people out of an operation and you create some space where they're able to world build and start thinking really creatively about how to solve core challenges that we're all facing, it's amazing what can happen. And the reality, at least, well, the reality from my perspective, from my point of view, is that we tend to overcomplicate the things that we're working on. We tend to overcomplicate the things that we're working on. If you start to look at each of the challenges you're working through, you likely can organize those challenges around a people challenge. Do we have the right people? Are those people interacting with each other well? Are they interacting with others well? Like, do we have the right people doing the right things inside the organization? Some people will talk about this in the context of people on the bus, but do we actually have the right people? Sometimes we don't have the right people. The organization evolves, it changes. Um, we have a need for specialization, or we have a need for generalization, depending on what kind of season we're going through in our organization. So, is the challenge that we're facing a people challenge? Is the challenge we're facing a process challenge? Is it something around the way that we just do work? The thing that, those things that we always do. That's just the way we've done it. Is it a process challenge that is creating friction inside your organization? And then the last one is technology. Could we solve this problem with technology, or could we actually solve it by removing technology? And I think one of the questions that it's important for people to ask is the technology working for you, or are you working for the technology? If you're working for the technology, you probably have a challenge associated with the type of technology that you've implemented, or the processes that you're that technology is enabling or supporting. So, people, process, technology, traditional consulting thing. Ah, surprise. And then if you can organize around the people, process, or technology thing, you can start to figure out, how do I fix it? Relative to the people piece, is it a behavior change thing? Then you can apply things like COM-B. COM-B comes out of the UK. I was introduced to this in my work that I did over at CyberSafe. CyberSafe is amazing work around human factor risk in the security space. And the way that we as a business did that, or they as a business do that today, is by applying science to the challenge of human cyber risk, behavioral science. And COM-B stands for capability, knowledge, skill, opportunity, think leadership, culture, operating environment, process stuff that we were just talking about, and then motivation. If I'm missing any of those three things, capability, opportunity, motivation, it's going to be really hard for me to change behavior. Cool thing about models like this is you can start to split the problem, deconstruct the problem into smaller pieces, and then start to focus time, energy, and attention on addressing the challenge, ultimately getting ourselves to the point where we simplify execution. So, is the challenge we're working on a people challenge, a process challenge, a technology challenge? The people stuff could be the people we have inside the organization. It could be how people are organizing around each other, how people are communicating with each other, how they're working. Is it a process challenge? Is it a technology challenge? If it is a people challenge, is the challenge specifically related to some kind of a behavior change that we're looking for? And if so, let's break that down into COM-B, which again comes out of a university in the UK. If you have questions you'd like me to answer on any of these daily podcast episodes, please send them to me. Send them to Let's go ahead and send them to podcast@catalystsale.com. We're in the process of revamping everything related to the business and the domain and all of that stuff. And we'll move to Find My Catalyst at some point in time. But if you want to go to the website, go to findmycatalyst.com. That's where you can find all of the information. If you have a question that you'd like to send in for review, it doesn't matter what that question is. No question is off limits, other than let's keep them in the context of either leadership, culture, revenue, or execution. Hope you enjoyed this Throwback Thursday. Check out episode 301, where Jen joined me to talk about RevOps. And if you have questions about some of the other stuff that I was talking about today, you know how to get a hold of me. Thank you.